Hello? Anybody there? Anybody there? Hello? Hello, hello? This is weird. Oh, I don't know if anybody can hear me.
There we go. Now we're unmuted. Hello?
Here's Ginger.
Yes. Yes, now I can hear you.
Hi.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Loud and clear.
Great.
All right, I'm reading the remotely conducted hybrid script for hybrid and remote meetings. The chair will call on those who have raised their hands in the order they were raised. All questions should be directed through the chair. As a preliminary matter, I am Andy Lowell, Chairman. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Peter Brace. Aye. Dave Bossy.
Present.
Scott Anderson.
Aye.
Ginger Andrews.
Hi.
We have Dave Franzuto.
We do not.
Okay, staff. Do we have any staff?
Nope.
Okay. Any anticipated speakers? Doesn't look like it. Good morning or good evening. This open meeting of the Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. I'd like to call this meeting of the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board to order. Tuesday, April 18th. Do we have an approval of tonight's agenda, please? Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's made by Ginger Andrews, seconded by David Bossy to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor? Ms. Andrews?
Hi.
Bossy?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Brace?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Did we have minutes?
2.5 hour meeting and last 2 weeks getting ready for bee season. Haven't touched them.
Okay.
Sorry.
And that, no apology necessary.
All right.
It was a long meeting, but I have to say it was one of our most productive meetings
Definitely was.
in many years. So I'd like to thank everybody who participated at our last meeting. The chairman's report, I have not reached out to Erica. This is just reminding me now. Do you have any fresh information?
No,
Okay,
and it was, about 10, no. God, what was it, 2 weeks ago? More than 2 weeks ago that I sent it to her. So,
well, she did let us know that, nothing could be done with the ballot. The ballot was made, and the ballot was created
okay.
already before his resignation.
Has he resigned? Do we have a letter?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, he brought it to the town clerk.
Yeah, but I still think on every place where you vote for somebody, there's a space that says write-in.
I don't think it can, I think there's a process. I don't believe you can just do that.
You can.
No, you can write in. That
Right.
doesn't mean that there's no open position until a legally created open position
No,
exists.
What I'm saying is that it's me and Dave that are defending our seats.
Hmm?
If Joel Puma decided to come back, if he wanted to, he could organize a write-in campaign, get all his friends to write him in, and that could bump me.
Absolutely.
Or Dave,
Bump
yeah.
one of you off, but he can't come in as a third is what I'm saying.
Right, you're right about that, yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't help to fill the empty seat. I'm inclined to believe that the select board will be
Yeah.
able to appoint somebody.
It seems so, I mean, that's how Dave got on,
And Jim Sherwin
yeah.
agreed that he would. I have to imagine he has to have a letter of interest now.
Yeah,
Of some sort, some type of notice of interest to the select board or town manager, so
if I'm downtown tomorrow, I'll stop, the town building and ask.
okay, I'll make a note of that as well, so. Okay,
But also, when I said 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks, what I was referring to, I thought you were referring to was, the bar slip. Then Kevin heard from her, and I sent it in after Dave Bossy sent it to me. Then I sent that in. And said, here you go, and this is what we want to do, and so.
all right,
So I'll follow up.
we'll cover that on business. I think, maybe not. Yes, it's on there.
Yeah. I was-
Marine Department report,
No, Sheila.
natural
Wait,
resources.
hold on. iPhone, I don't know who this is, but
Have to identify.
yeah. Just- Go ahead, Andy, I'm just gonna send a chat to iPhone.
All right. What's the number?
Don't let me hold you up.
Natural resources report. Doesn't look like we have representation there either. Comments from the board, Marine Department or Natural Resources? Anything you'd want to cover from our last meeting? Now would be a good
Mr.
time.
Chairman?
Ginger, please.
Yeah, I was just wondering about what Sheila was saying about the quote unquote offices, which are the bathrooms for the town pier. Did we get did we have a clear, action item there to do something?
She mentioned that only one bid came in for the building.
Ah,
And it was substantially in the millions higher than what's been appropriated.
oh, okay.
I think maybe 5 million appropriated and 8.1 or 8.2. I stand to be corrected, but somewhere in that vicinity was the sole bidder. There's also been discussion that the discussion about moving the building across the street. She was adamant that that would not happen, which was good to hear. We know Sheila stands up for herself and what she feels is right very well, so.
Well, there was no disagreement about that part. I don't think there ever has been, at least among anybody that uses the thing, or,
I
But
guess
anyway.
it has something more to do with a boardwalk being created, I guess, but her being directly on the waterfront certainly makes sense after her explanation about it here at the last meeting. So it sounds like it's, do you remember, Peter? What is it? They have to go for more of an appropriation?
Mr. Chairman, I was looking through the articles for town meeting. I believe there is an article in there to appropriate more money for a harbor master office.
I agree, I did see some of those.
Okay.
But it sounded from Sheila,
May not be enough,
it
but
sounded
Probably
like
not.
they were going back to the drawing board. Didn't it sound like that?
Well, there was also in the paper this week, a request for qualifications to design a harbor master's office. Now, I don't know if are we replacing the one out on the pier too? Is that?
That is the harbor master.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
So they're just starting design work, looking for someone to qualify to design that, but that's separate from the showers and the other building.
Well, just to be clear, the harbor master's office is on land, Washington Street. If you were the building out on the pier,
That's just
is for the boat base, and that's the dock master.
Oh, dock master, right,
Yeah.
right, good point, right, okay. So, well, that's a little scary because I saw it in the paper and I think it said request for qualifications for someone qualified to design a harbor master's office building.
but isn't her office on the second floor of that building, Andy? Yeah, she's up.
Well, they have a small office on the first floor for licenses.
Right.
And yes, I believe she has an office and there's a conference room of sorts upstairs.
Yeah, because there used to be, I remember they did put an addition onto it. And remember, you'd go up the stairs and it was just Dave's office up there. Then they added the second floor over the bathrooms and there were other desks in there. I don't know.
Well,
I'm gonna see if I can find the article that's for town meeting and see what it actually refers to. It was about additional funding, so.
I remember when I first got here that the harbor master's office was over the building that's across the street, the town building on the second floor.
Was there a building there at the town pier?
I think so.
Well, she has reiterated that she doesn't need much for an office, and this is mostly the town wanting to have a presentable facility there for showers and bathrooms, and
Yeah,
and it does handle the entire anchorage. It's supposed to, and the town pier itself. So I'm sure it gets a lot of use. Any other discussion from, on Marine Department or Natural Resources from 2 weeks ago that anybody wants to question or comment on?
natural resources, I did see people out in Mattakit appear to be a couple of scallopers repositioning scallops.
Oh.
So I was encouraged with that. Yeah, when I could see them pulling stuff up
Yeah,
And I spent enough time, I see him moving it and spend another time putting it over the side again,
Interesting, okay.
taking notes where those places are.
I didn't get an email from Tara saying that she wouldn't be here, so.
Well, and I didn't, at the last Nantucket Shellfish Association meeting, there was no discussion about seed moving, that or seed relocation that I can recall. But
Not
interesting.
sure what else they were doing because
Right.
it was a skeleton boat out there and
Yeah.
it was dredge.
Yeah. Any more discussion?
Just to say, that was it's the general town pier improvements, they're going for another 2.5 million, almost 2.6. Apparently related to the work they're doing out there now. That overruns, this isn't the harbor master. So I must have misread that.
You were talking about the marine building out there.
No, this is town pier improvement project, we're gonna be voting on another 2.5 million to complete
Okay,
that work.
Interesting. Did she mention what else?
No, I didn't know anything else was going on. I'm just wondering if it's the same project that's going on now and they need more funding to finish it. Because they've got the cement piers. She
Right.
did comment about the cement
Yeah,
floating docks are
Yeah.
here, but I think they have to get funding to put them in, she was saying. I
Yeah.
believe Sheila did say that, so, right, that's probably what it is, all related to that.
all right. Last call on discussion. Marine Department report, natural resources. Public comment. Old business. The harbor watershed insert. It was nice to have Peter Morrison here at our last meeting and to be able to organize through them and with them for support at last week's NSA meeting. The NSA is excited about it as well and would like to have a seat at the table, so to speak. So you know, they can expose what they do and also help answer questions. They have a lot of interest in the watershed and what's going on as well. So the more the merrier, I would have to say. Discussion? You were mentioning, what did you mention about the buck slip? You haven't heard from.
that I had sent. The final version that Dave Bossy sent me. And said, here it is, Erica, and reminded her that we said that I would, that we had to send it in its final form before the select board would consider it. So I will just follow up with Erica with an email and see what's up.
Thank you, Peter. Board members, discussion on the harbor watershed insert. I'm wondering if we should also, you know, this should be teamed up with our harbor watershed forum. We have a name for it so that we have this labeled correctly for the agenda as we move forward. So that we can openly have discussion and vote on if necessary. Anything about this, our forum for early September. Because it's the same thing.
What?
Basically, the harbor watershed insert
Is the harbor.
is
right,
also, you know, teamed up with the forum.
the harbor, yeah,
So I'm just saying for when we do our agenda again, I
Right,
think we ought to add in, you know, harbor watershed insert / forum.
but the forum is in July.
no, the forum we're
No.
talking about is September. as our last
Our
meeting.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
let's not confuse it with the harbor, with the state of the harbor.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
okay,
Any more discussion?
yeah, we definitely need a name, maybe that's what we all should think about before, you know. Before the
Name
next
our
meeting.
harbor watershed forum.
Mhm.
Something easy,
Harbor watershed forum is pretty.
Yeah.
We can think about it.
that's what I mean about, though, confusing it with the state of the harbor forum, is we gotta have something that's I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but
Harbor watershed awareness.
Workshop.
Basic
Workshop, I like
workshop.
that, there you go,
It's a workshop.
it is a workshop,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, well, we'll knock that around for 2 weeks and discuss it next meeting.
Mhm.
All right.
Anything? Oh, hi Ginger. Anything else on the harbor?
Hi there. I'm
Insert-
listening, I'm here. I just
Yes,
didn't have
yes.
anything to add.
That's fine, thank you, Ginger. Harbor watershed insert forum workshop. Any more discussion? Vineyard wind and South Coast wind. There's a offshore wind update that the Residents Against Turbines has created. I wish I had a copy for everybody. It's pretty thick. Amy DeCibio put on a informational last Wednesday and had quite a bit of new information that I think is important to the whole plan.
Did she mention, how the lawsuit was going?
No. No, it's, no, but she did mention that she feels there's the plow driving of the cables through Cape Cod Bay, and there's more studying taking place on booms, how far it travels with tides, the silt booms. So. And how any of this installation may possibly affect fishermen, especially any local fishermen. So I'm not sure if the Residents Against Turbines have a website where you could find this. It's possible they do. I'm not seeing it here, but I would imagine they do. So she's, the group is still out there and active, and they feel they have quite a bit of concerns. This report mostly is, each page is basically a question that still is unanswered about the project and whether it's effects or types of materials. There's some, for South Coast wind, the turbine, the type of turbine has not even been selected yet. So it's not off the table that they could possibly be floating turbines. So, and there was a reason.
Mr. Chairman,
Miss Andrews, please.
could I just pop in here and say that I think a floating turbine in Nantucket Sound would be the stupidest idea ever?
Well, Nantucket Sound is not gonna be, Save Our Sound is taking care of that, but.
Right, okay.
They are putting, plowing cables through to reach land to transfer the power. Save Our Sound is actually on board with the wind energy being put off the south coast. It's still 14 miles south of us. They have created renditions of what we will see. Cisco Beach and it's interesting to take a look at what the possibilities are of the view shed. I would be concerned with wildlife and Ginger.
Oh, I was just thinking of the floating idea. I mean,
Well,
it just
it
it doesn't seem to me like they have a really
It's an option.
I mean, it's
that's
one thing.
out there. And it's I guess it's being, that option is being talked about more in the Gulf of Maine. And they're a rather large structure, 300 foot by 300 foot barge type structure that the turbine would rest on. Um, I'm sure we will be kept informed of what South Coast Wind chooses or who they choose for a vendor. The discussion that Amy put on talked a lot about who the investors are. They're all Middle East investors that own Vineyard Wind is owned by an investment firm out of Qatar, and half owned, and the other half ownership. I didn't bring my notes with me on that, but the concern, is well, there are lots of concerns, so pages of them really that go unanswered. And the latest is the Department of Defense has a concern now as well that they're raising. So and basically what she had mentioned was the having our town council suggested its cultural heritage group of lawyers that mitigated on our behalf for the 16 million, and she feels there's still time for this to be pulled back and go before more than just 5 people on the island. It was a big decision to make for 5 people, and not having brought it forward before any other boards or commissions or the public themselves. So some interesting stuff, to say the least.
Okay, I'll have to look at that further. I just, there was somewhere I was reading that the sort of the top of the blade would be at 1,000 feet, which just seems like a 300 by 300 foot barge. I mean, they're going to have to be anchored somehow, and anchored in what? And, if we get one of those big waves, and what happens when the anchor drags? And I mean, it just, it sounded,
I don't want
not terribly well thought out. But, I really should wait until I have a more thorough grasp of, I guess they haven't even really made a proposal yet, though, so it's really hard to say. It's hard to respond to something that isn't firm yet,
Well, Vineyard Wind has chosen theirs, although I guess they have gotten a bit taller. So the wingspan alone is each blade is 300 feet long, and they stand over 1,000 feet, about 1,050. But with including the wingspan, I believe. But I don't want to get too far off on the floating portion, because that is not what South Coast Wind has proposed. They just haven't proposed anything yet. They haven't chosen a type of windmill that they'll be using. But I would encourage you to individually see if you can find any information, and I can also have ask Amy to send anything new out to the board. Any more discussion? Vineyard Wind, South Coast Wind. The green crabs.
I was with RJ Turcott last week doing a hike, and he had mentioned to me that they have 2 scallopers on board to start harvesting green crabs and bringing them out to Toscana, and Toscana's just gonna crush them and mix them in with their mulch. So whether they expand past 2 people doing the scallop or green crabbing, just have to wait and see with that. It doesn't seem to be enough probably, but it's a start.
Right, yes, and we'll have to accept that start, I guess. This was spoken about quite a bit at the NSA meeting. Dylan Wallace is one of the fishermen.
Okay.
I don't remember them mentioning, they said 2 fishermen are willing to set the traps for the land council. The land council has 20 traps. set them, bait them, and they will check the traps once a week for 4 weeks. So it's basically set them and empty them, rebait 4 times. And the land council and the NSA has split the cost. Believe they've each put up $10,000 for this project.
I believe the 2 scalpers are gonna get paid to do this.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
That's great though, 40 traps, that's
I
huge.
mean, when you have the
20
20
traps.
each or 20?
No,
Oh,
just
20
20
total, okay.
traps
Well,
in total. Some discussion, what if you notice that the traps fill quicker? At this point, they're gonna stick with just emptying them once a week. There was discussion of how many can be in a trap within a week's time. Carl Sherlin has done this already in Mattocket. He felt there were more of the green crabs in Mattocket than there are in town. The traps basically wouldn't hold anymore. So they were crawling over each other, and there were at least 100 crabs in each trap. They also mentioned that the high school culinary program run by Mr. Proch, used to be the chef at the club car. He has actually asked for some green crabs to create a plate with his students, I believe.
Cool,
Which,
Interesting.
yeah.
good start.
And as far as the composting goes, yes, what the 2 fishermen bring in will go to Toscana, and it's also up to Toscana to end their life. So it sounds a little interesting to me because I'm told they move quickly, and they move quickly across land. And I'm hoping they don't evolve into becoming land dwellers. So,
The method of killing it is dump them in a 5-gallon bucket and smash it.
Well,
yeah,
or put them in fresh water.
yeah.
Fresh water will kill them too.
Oh,
They need at least a briny solution to survive.
until they mutate. And-
Yeah, exactly.
And then, come through, it's great.
Another thing,
So-
RJ also said that there's a little bit of the science part in there is you have to be careful not to overfish them, because if you can get them into a year where they seem to have now declined, they may come back stronger next year. So that's one of those little bit of scientific, don't try to eradicate them. There's a fine blend of how much you take, so that they don't Mother Nature comes back with a vengeance.
Interesting.
That's it.
Well, good.
Any more discussion for green crabs? The Harbor Action Plan Committee. Recommendations, discussion.
On behalf of Dave, who isn't here, I know that the committee was receptive to us giving them ideas, giving them recommendations. But the committee's just getting organized. We've had 3-4 meetings now, and we're just to the point where we're going through the implementation matrix of the last time it was updated. And Dave went through all of it, and can't remember if I reported this at the last meeting or not, but Dave reported it, but he found that about 78% of the action items have been completed.
That's pretty good. Wow.
And so what we're working on now is to make it very easy to know what things we still have to do, and be ready to answer questions for the public, because there will be a public, we'll hold a meeting where we'll invite the public to comment. And people will be able to comment, they'll be able to do it by Zoom. There'll be a website, there'll be a page on the town's website or Urban Harbors will be able to go and leave comments. But we're all preparing, I guess, for having to answer questions. And I guess that's gonna be in June. So. I'm trying to remember. I think that's it.
Well, that would certainly be an interesting event to attend as well for all of us. I mean, I think a lot of what's gonna go into this plan, or a lot that we talk about here at our meetings and have on our agenda, we're hoping some things are implemented into this plan that we've spoken about for years. And it seems like not only with this and our next agenda item, the sediment transport study and dredge plan, I felt confident after hearing Mr. Carlson at our last meeting mention that a lot of things that we've spoken about here will be considered and taken seriously, and should also really be a part of the plan. And hearing that action is being taken with stormwater runoff as well, and it was just a good feeling that knowing that the sewer department will possibly be paying more attention to that, and it'll be part of discussion, part of the plan, and hopefully it leads to a healthier harbor. Mr. Anderson.
When I talked to Dave Gray at the sewer department, he'd be happy to come and talk to us.
Right.
And I'd like to have him out here because I know we had a discussion about it seemed like we were starting to just be Shellfish as compared to harbor when Sheila didn't come. So I think if we can invite a few more of the components that go into water quality, such as the storm sewers and the regular sewers, that if we get them to come on a regular basis, we might be able to bring people together on another front. It ends up in the harbor, comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, somebody just yesterday, I
Yeah,
think it was posted during our last rain. The outfall pipe at Easy Street, there was quite a big circle, a sheen of oil in what was spilling out into the harbor there. And the public, when somebody posts something like that, more people see it, and there were a lot of answers on there or questions. Where's this coming from? That looks like a lot. And of course it does, a small amount goes a long way when it hits the water, but it certainly raised awareness to the people who saw it and were willing to comment, and all the comments had concern. And so I'd like to think that it'd actually be a good little video to copy and paste and show at not only at our workshop, but at what you just mentioned, where the Harbor Action Plan is going to be having people come in.
Yeah.
I mean, more people see that, hey, it ends up in the harbor this easily. It came from somewhere out there. Who knows how many storm drains are connected to that one outfall pipe?
There's quite a few when you look at, I've looked at the material and it's like the blueprint of storm sewers goes right through the watershed, so at least in the town.
So
I don't think it's changed.
right. No, it hasn't. No, it's we could probably call it an antiquated system. So hopefully there's availability of products today that help clean this up somehow before it makes it to the harbor. And that's what we would, be relying on Mr. Gray for.
So I'll reach out to him and see if
research
he can
on.
start attending meetings or at least periodically.
Yeah, it'd be neat to know if he's looking into any products that are gonna be easy for him to maintain. Or convenient. Nothing's easy in that area, I imagine, just pulling the grate off you stand to lose a finger or a toe if a limb is in the wrong position, but it'd be interesting to know if he's starting his research on what products are available to filter stormwater runoff at the source.
There's a lot of money, or a lot of money in some of the warrants that are in the town meeting there too for stormwater.
Any more discussion on the Harbor Action Plan Committee recommendations? Keep in mind recommendations, if we're, if we don't see them being covered, we should probably have ours written down anyway and just simply put out there at some point, if they're asking for public input in June, it's not too far away. Maybe we should be drafting any recommendation we feel should be tied in with this plan and get it in so it's there for consideration and discussion at that level. And the same would go with sediment transport study and dredge plan. Like I said, I feel confident that Jeff has been listening in and it's just in a it's in a stage that hasn't even begun yet. So there's certainly time. Any discussion on sediment transport and dredge plan from the board? Not hearing any. All these things are part of health of the harbors. We have nothing new under health of the harbors. New business, coastal resilience advisory board.
Okay, at our April 11th meeting, we reviewed and commented on town meeting articles with coastal resilience implications. We talked about how to get the town to commit more than $1 million annually to fund coastal resilience plan recommendations. Talked about prioritizing these projects sooner than later to get the funding amounts in front of the capital programs committee and the finance committee. For the sediment transport study and dredge plan, Leah Cabral, who's now the coastal coordinator, gave us an update. She said there's the possibility of creating a sand bank, a lot like the land bank where any sand that's dredged is used for coastal resilience projects. Once, of course, it's been cured, I guess. And what did she say? The timeline to complete the study is going to be about 18 months. The study and the plan. Survey work will begin at the end of April, and it's due to finish, and then the project's due to finish in September 2024. R.D. Turcott from the Nantucket Land Council, he encouraged the committee to get this as an agenda item as soon as possible, sediment transport study and dredge plan. He said it's an enormous project and we need to find the funding to have the whole island included in this study and plan. And at a meeting preceding this, Deanne Atherton of the Nantucket Coastal Conservancy, she's been bugging us to answer the question of why are they just doing the harbors and not the whole island. And Vince says it's a question of money and time.
Specifically in sediment transport and dredging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why aren't they for this effort? Why isn't the effort looking at the whole island instead of just the harbors?
Okay.
And we've been told that it's it's the money thing, and so he's pushing us to find the funding, and they will help. And I guess the consultants hired for this effort will be updating the Coastal Resilience Advisory Committee on the progress of it.
Did she specify you know, what she would include in the description of whole island?
The
Like,
whole island,
I mean, but
the
what?
transport study of the whole island,
Oh, transporting around
okay.
around the island.
So-
how it happens
the
naturally.
scope of work,
Shifting the sands.
the scope of work is for the harbor
Mhm.
and for Matticat Harbor.
Right.
It's not all the way around. I mean, I know there's a document which I have that shows the direction of, but as to how much, as to the volume of sand, and is it still doing the same thing?
Mhm.
But then, you know, I guess Vince has determined, and to a certain extent, our committee has determined that what's most important is harbors, because that's a lot of the people, a lot of the effort and protection efforts are downtown, and as well as Matticat. So,
I just needed to clarify, I wasn't sure if she meant,
Ponds.
like the pond.
Yeah, right.
And the you know, the trenches in Matticat, the bridges to Long Pond and whatnot. So, but what she meant was the natural flow and how sediment.
Longshore current.
Yeah.
Where deposits, yeah.
Smart.
So we talked about various grants. Vince said that the municipal vulnerability program grant is very interested in funding a climate action plan for Nantucket. And he said that he was starting to work on this for crack. He will need letters of support from various boards and stakeholders to get this going. And the MVP wants us to reapply for the grant that we didn't get for the protective berm running basically from Great Harbor Yacht Club all the way through town. And get denied that grant.
What's the MVP?
Municipal vulnerability program. Leah Hill said the coastal zone management grant is for proactive planning. And that coastal zone management likes us because we're so remote. We need a lot of help being where we are, being an island. I imagine they like the vineyard as well, but she said that this is a good source of funding for the downtown storm barrier or berm, like they said.
Is it safe to think that they're asking to reapply because they're having second thoughts about their denial of the first application? They're asking us to reapply for a grant that they denied?
Yeah, because I guess we weren't specific enough. They weren't specific enough. The grant wasn't written, I guess, as accurately. And so also Leah, she invited me and all the other members of CRAC to meet with her because she's coming on board and will eventually be totally taking over from Vince. And she needs to learn as much as she can about us. And so she took me out, where we met at the Green Market and probed me and asked me questions what I thought. And I said, we need a grant writer. We need a dedicated grant writer. It shouldn't be on you or other staff. It should
Well,
be.
that was my next question. Is she tasked with the grant writing at this
Now
point?
is, but we need someone who can take that off her hands, someone who knows how to do that, someone who has the experience.
Well, you need a grant administrator too. Once it gets awarded, you need somebody to make sure you follow the terms of the grant.
Right.
And do all the filings and stuff. It's a big job.
You know.
And it can't fall on the people that are like Leah. I mean, it just can't. It's special.
You know, and I said, you know, my main concern is, how, being the SHAP representative on CRAC, I said, my main concern is sea level rise and how that's going to affect fishermen. And what if code 2 doesn't protect us anymore? And what happens to, the eelgrass? And I talked a lot about how we would like to do these micro dredging projects to get sand out of the harbor. I told her all about that stuff. And, I said, we're all concern for our, for our scalpers and for our oystermen. So. Can't actually remember everything I told her, but she asked me a lot of questions. But she's, she met, I don't know how many other people she met with, but at least more than half of the committee.
Mhm. Well, that's great. You filled her in on what's on our agenda. Thank you, Peter.
And then the living shoreline project, which is gonna happen on in the Opus Road section of Sackatchew Pond. It's being shored up to protect that vulnerable part that got washed out during whatever storm that was 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? And then they put up barriers and
The big cement block barriers.
yeah,
Right.
and what did Seth say, or someone reminded us, Ian Golding said that was an illegal installation because it didn't go in. The DPW just put it in without any COMCOM approval. So what this is gonna do is, there's a grant coming from the EPA for $158,000, the Southern New England program of the EPA, which pays for the permitting, artificial reef balls, concrete balls in their installation, which will be installed along the shoreline, and it'll be habitat for fish and the oysters that are living in the pond. Money from a town meeting appropriation will cover surveys and then the actual living shoreline on the shoreline aspect of this. The reef balls act as wave attenuation to kind of break up the waves before they hit the shore. So pretty much it.
Which just prior to Sackatchew being opened, we had a windy day and I happened to be driving by there and I was amazed at how much spray crosses the road.
Yeah.
From hitting those concrete.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but a lot of water across the road and literally turn your windshield wipers on as you drive through. So maybe they're taking that into consideration with these wave attenuators.
Hummock Pond must have been open for a long time because on Sunday I had a guided hike to Gardner Farm and we were able to walk way out into the pond. It was really, really low.
Discussion from the board on coastal resilience advisory update. Thank you, Peter. I didn't get a chance to hold this up at the last meeting. I just, it's, what was it, 2 hours and 47 minutes or so. But the NSA has ordered 1,000 stickers. I asked them if they can fit in their little logo down at the bottom, that they should.
Closer to the owl.
And so these are on order and Mr. Franzuto and I, and if anybody else wants to pitch in, we're gonna try to get one of these on 3 sides of every dumpster that they'll allow us to put them on. And I'm hoping we can locate a spot in between the ribs of the dumpster, so to speak, so that they don't get damaged by abrasion too quickly. And I know it's been a long time coming, but better late than never, right?
What's the word?
Yeah.
Regular bumper sticker size. I'm sorry, I don't have exact dimensions, but I believe they're the average size of a bumper sticker.
Okay.
So the dumpsters, would they be like the refuge people dumpsters or just contractor dumpsters as well?
Well,
Well, I guess
actually,
what
it
you're
started, the idea started with contractor dumpsters because of,
Paint.
how hazardous waste is being disposed of at job sites. But actually at the NSA meeting, somebody brought up, it might have been Bruce Benny, if there are extra stickers can they be put on, some public, receptacles, in certain areas where people may be inclined to,
Make it
if
easy.
somebody in the marina has changed the oil in their generator and they just want to kind of drop it off at a barrel, the A&P or the Stop and Shop parking lot downtown. So I forget exactly the suggestion, but I'll be able to find that out from the NSA, because it was a really good idea. That aside from job site dumpsters, these could be used at some public receptacles as well.
Great.
So if, when we get them, I'll have to go back through my list of the owners of containers, to get back in touch with them. There was one vendor, I believe, did not want them on their dumpsters. They're not really a vendor, but they have a lot of dumpsters that they offer in construction only. We'll see if we can get him to change his mind. But the main carrier, I believe Reese was fine with it. Reese now has Santos. Santos was fine with it. The smaller end of things, Ted Stroney, he was fine with it as well, I believe. So, and then there are some contractors that have their own roll-offs and several dumpsters as well. So I know a few of them. I'll reach out to them as well. So there's the update on the hazardous materials sticker.
Definitely better late than never.
Yeah.
That's my first project.
Well, it's and it's ongoing.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh, yeah.
I think when we have our workshop, we should have a few of these around, just
Oh, yeah.
reinforcing
Yeah.
how bad the problem can be.
Good idea.
Good.
Public questions or comment, anything on tonight's meeting? Board members, any comments? Anything you'd like to see on our next meeting's agenda? Next meeting, you've got on here, future meetings, May 2nd and 9th.
Put the ninth, yeah.
Is May 2nd our next meeting? That's our
Yeah.
next Tuesday. And then, so it would be May 16th would be
Yep.
the meeting after that.
Yep.
So, okay, next meeting, May 2nd. If there's nothing else for tonight, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
I'll
Motion's-
second the motion.
All right, thank you, Ginger. The motion's made by Mr. Anderson. It's actually seconded by Mr. Brace. Before you, Ginger, sorry. All in favor?
problem.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Brace,
aye.
Miss Andrews,
Aye.
Mr. Bossy,
Aye.
the chair votes aye as well. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night, Andy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ginger.